scorched earth. That was my first thought when I woke up after my death. I am about to make their lives a living nightmare. My first life, as I call it now, was a 10-year mirage built on a foundation of shared dreams and whispered promises. I was a husband, a partner, a man who believed in the sanctity of the vows I'd taken with Elena. She was my world, the sun my life orbited around. My rival, it turns out, wasn't some stranger I could hate cleanly, but a man named Derek, a ghost from her past she'd sworn was just a friend. He slid into our lives with an easy charm that I, in my blind trust, never saw as a threat. I died not in a literal sense, but in a way that was far more brutal. I died in the doorway of my own bedroom, watching the life I knew dissolve before my eyes, killed by the casual cruelty of the two people I trusted most in the world. The clock on the hall table glows with defiant red numbers, 11:47 p.m. I am standing in my own doorway, a ghost in the house I pay for, watching my wife, Elena, adjust another man's pillow. My pillow, on my side of our bed. The man, Derek, stretches lazily between my Egyptian cotton sheets, a picture of smug satisfaction. He looks at home here, in my space, with my wife. The air is thick, a sickening cocktail of Elena's vanilla perfume and his cheap, cloying cologne. It churns in my stomach, hot and acidic. My hands are shaking. I grip the doorframe to steady myself, the wood biting into my palms. The rage is a physical thing, a burning pressure behind my ribs threatening to splinter me from the inside out. It's a humiliation so profound it feels like a physical blow, knocking the air from my lungs. Elena doesn't look at me. Her focus is entirely on Derek. Her movements gentle, practiced, intimate. It's the same way she used to adjust my pillow. A small act of care that now feels like a shard of glass in my heart. "You have 12 hours to decide, Marcus," she says. Her voice is cool and smooth as river stones. She finally turns her head, her eyes meeting mine without a flicker of remorse. They are cold, calculating. The warmth I once found there is gone, replaced by a chilling indifference. Either you accept this new arrangement, or you find somewhere else to live. An arrangement? She calls this an arrangement, as if we're negotiating a business deal, not dismantling a decade of marriage in the most brutal way imaginable. My eyes drift to the nightstand, to the silver-framed photo from our wedding day. There we are, smiling, young, blissfully unaware that this moment, this betrayal, was waiting for us in the future. The photo mocks me, a cruel joke whispering of promises broken and a love that was, perhaps, never real to begin with. Derek smirks from my bed, his arm draped possessively over the space where I should be. He enjoys this, I realize. He's savoring my pain. "Elena, what is this?" I finally manage to choke out, the words tasting like ash in my mouth. My voice is unfamiliar, a hoarse whisper. She sighs, a sound of pure annoyance, as if I'm a bothersome child. "It's simple, Marcus. Derek is here to stay. We have a connection, a future. You and I. We've run our course." She gestures vaguely around the room at the life we built together. "This is just a formality." A formality. The word hangs in the air, heavy and suffocating. My mind struggles to catch up, to process the sheer audacity of it all. She's not just having an affair. She's moving her lover into our home, into our bed, and giving me an ultimatum. Accept it or get out. The walls of the hallway seem to close in on me, the air growing thin. I can hear my own heartbeat, a frantic, panicked rhythm in my ears. The family photo on the nightstand seems to stare at me, the smiling faces a testament to a life that is now a lie. My past, my present, my future, all of it is being rewritten in this single horrific moment. And I have 12 hours to make a choice that will determine the rest of my life. The timer has started, and I am standing on the precipice of an abyss with the woman I married ready to give me the final push. For a moment, I am frozen, trapped in the amber of my own disbelief. The audacity of it, the sheer unmitigated gall. My home, my bed, my wife. A torrent of emotions, rage, grief, a humiliation so sharp it feels like a physical wound, crashes over me. My first instinct is to scream, to roar, to unleash the storm gathering in my chest, to lunge at Derek, to drag him from my bed and throw him out into the cold night. But then, a strange and sudden clarity cuts through the fog of my emotions. It's a cold, hard, and terrifyingly calm feeling. The shaking in my hand stops. My breathing evens out. The frantic drumming of my heart slows to a steady, resolute beat. This isn't a fight I can win with fists or fury. This is a war, and I've just been handed my first weapon. I pull out my phone. The screen illuminates my face, casting a ghostly pale light in the dim hallway. My fingers are steady as they navigate to the keypad. Elena watches me. A flicker of something. Curiosity? Annoyance? In her eyes? She probably thinks I'm calling a friend or my brother, looking for a place to stay. Derek, still lounging in my bed like a king on his throne, just smirks. He thinks he's won. He thinks I'm broken. My thumb hovers over the last digit for a fraction of a second. Then I press it. The phone connects. A calm, professional voice on the other end says, 911, what's your emergency? My voice, when I speak, is as steady as marble. It doesn't tremble. It doesn't crack. I'd like to report a break-in, I say, my eyes locked on Elena's. The address is 1247 Maple Drive. There's an intruder in my bedroom. The change is instantaneous. Derek bolts upright in the bed, the smug satisfaction wiped from his face, replaced by a wave of pure, unadulterated panic. What the hell are you doing? Elena hisses, her voice a venomous whisper. She lunges for my phone, her carefully constructed composure shattering like glass. I step back, out of her reach, turning my body to shield the phone. Reporting a crime, I say, my voice still unnervingly calm. Last I checked, breaking and entering was still illegal. I turn my attention back to the dispatcher. Yes, he's still here, in my bed. My wife is here as well. I listen for a moment, then say, no, I'm not in any immediate danger, but I want him removed from my property. Are you out of your mind? Elena shrieks, her voice climbing an octave. Marcus, hang up that phone right now. The dispatcher's voice is a calming presence in my ear. Sir, we have officers in your area. They are being dispatched to your location now. Estimated time of arrival is 8 minutes. Can you stay on the line with me? Yes, I say, my gaze sweeping from my hysterical wife to her panicked lover. I can do that. Suddenly, the power dynamic in the room has shifted. The confident smirk on Elena's face has crumbled, replaced by a desperate, cornered fear. She's staring at me as if she's never seen me before. And in a way, she hasn't. She's only ever seen the man who loved her, the man who would do anything for her. She's never met this version of me, the one who is calm in the face of chaos, the one who is thinking 3 steps ahead, the one who is not going to be driven from his own home in the middle of the night. Derek is scrambling out of the bed, grabbing for his clothes which are strewn carelessly on my armchair. You're crazy, he sputters, his eyes wide with fear. You're actually insane. He's not the confident, smirking alpha male anymore. He's just a man caught in a situation he didn't anticipate, a situation he can't control. The next 8 minutes stretch into an eternity. Elena alternates between pleading and threatening, her voice a roller coaster of emotions. "Marcus, please, think about what you're doing. You're going to ruin everything. We can talk about this. Just hang up the phone." Then her tone shifts, hardening into a sharp, angry edge. "You'll regret this, Marcus. I swear to God, you will regret this." I say nothing. I just stand there, the phone pressed to my ear, a silent sentinel in my own home. I am no longer the victim in this drama. I am the one who has taken control. I have set the wheels in motion, and now all we can do is wait for them to arrive. The sound of distant sirens grows steadily closer, a harbinger of the new reality I am creating, one call at a time. The timer Elena set for me is irrelevant now. I'm on my own clock. And the first 8 minutes have just changed everything. 20 minutes later, I'm standing in my kitchen, a fortress of calm amidst the swirling chaos. Through the window, the flashing red and blue lights of 2 police cruisers paint surreal, strobing patterns across the manicured lawn. I watch as Officer Martinez, a man whose stern demeanor I recognize from neighborhood watch meetings, leads a handcuffed Derek towards one of the cars. Derek is sputtering, trying to explain, his words lost in the cold night air. He looks smaller now, stripped of his arrogance. Just another man in the back of a police car. Elena is on the porch, her voice a raw, ragged shriek as she argues with the other officer, a younger woman with a patient but firm expression. Elena's mascara is streaking down her cheeks like black war paint, her carefully curated image of a sophisticated, in-control woman dissolving under the harsh glare of the flashing lights. Finally, she gives up, storming back into the house. The front door slams against the frame with a force that rattles the wedding photo on the wall. She marches into the kitchen, her eyes blazing with a fury so intense it's almost palpable. "You've ruined everything!" she screams, her voice cracking. The sound is raw, primal, a wounded animal's cry of rage and despair. I turn from the window, my movements slow, deliberate. I open the refrigerator. The cool air, a welcome balm against the heated tension in the room. I take out a bottle of water, twist the cap, and take a long, slow sip. My hands no longer shake. The tremor that had seized me in the hallway is gone, replaced by a cold, steady resolve. "Have I?" I ask, my voice even, measured. From where I was standing, it looked like things were already pretty ruined. "You don't understand," she says, pacing back and forth across the linoleum floor like a caged tiger. "This wasn't just what you think it was. Derek and I, we have plans. We were going to start a business together." I raise an eyebrow, my curiosity piqued. This is new. This is a thread I hadn't anticipated. "A business?" I ask, pouring the rest of the water into a glass. The sound of the water hitting the glass is the only sound in the room for a moment, a small, clean sound in the midst of all this mess. "Planning what, exactly?" "A consulting firm!" she shouts, her voice desperate now, laced with a frantic energy. "We've been working on it for months. We had investors lined up. We had a business plan. Everything was ready to go." "A consulting firm," I repeat, the words tasting strange on my tongue. It sounds so legitimate, so plausible. But it doesn't explain why Derek was in my bed. It doesn't explain the 12-hour ultimatum. It doesn't explain the cold, hard look in her eyes. "And this consulting firm, it required my half of the bed as office space?" Her face contorts in a spasm of frustration. "No, you idiot!" she spits, the mask of civility completely gone now. "We needed the house as collateral for the loan." And then the lies start to tumble out, a torrent of deceit that leaves me reeling. She speaks in a rushed, frantic torrent, the words tripping over each other in her haste to… what? Justify her actions? Make me understand the magnitude of my mistake? She talks of secret meetings, of lunches and dinners that were supposedly with clients, but were actually with Derek. She talks of documents, of a business plan I never knew existed. And then, the final devastating blow. She talks about my signature, on papers I never saw, on loan applications I never signed. The kitchen seems to tilt on its axis. The glass of water in my hand suddenly feels heavy, impossibly heavy. Forgery. She's not just an adulterer, she's a criminal. This isn't just about a broken heart, it's about a broken law, a series of them, from the sound of it. You forged my signature? I ask, my voice barely a whisper. The cold calm I'd been wrapped in begins to crack, the sheer scale of her betrayal threatening to shatter it completely. I was going to tell you, she insists, her eyes wide, pleading. Once the first round of funding came through, we were going to be rich, Marcus. All of this. She gestures wildly around the kitchen, at the life I thought we were building together. It would have been nothing. We would have had everything. Outside, Derek's voice carries through the still night air. He's still trying to explain to the officers why he, a guest, was found in the master bedroom of a house that wasn't his. He's trying to explain why he felt he had a right to be there, in another man's bed. His lies are weak, flimsy, easily dismantled by the simple, undeniable fact of his presence. But Elena's lies? They are a different beast entirely. They are complex, intricate, a web of deceit woven over months, a web that was designed to ensnare me, to use me, to discard me. The affair was just a symptom. The disease, I'm beginning to realize, runs much, much deeper. And I have a sickening feeling that I've only just begun to uncover the true extent of it. The world has narrowed to the four walls of my kitchen. The flashing lights outside have stopped. The police are gone, and Derek is, for the moment, out of the picture. But the real storm is just beginning. Right here, under the soft glow of the recessed lighting. Elena has collapsed into a kitchen chair, her face buried in her hands, her shoulders shaking with silent, desperate sobs. The torrent of confessions has slowed to a trickle of muttered excuses and half-hearted justifications. She's trying to paint a picture of herself as a victim of circumstance, a woman driven to desperate measures by a desire for a better life. A life that, apparently, didn't include me. I'm leaning against the counter, my mind a whirlwind of forgery, secret loans, and a business I never knew existed. The betrayal is so profound, so multi-layered. It's hard to grasp. It's like discovering the foundations of your house are not made of concrete, but of sand. Everything I thought was solid, everything I thought was real, is crumbling around me. And then, a sound cuts through the heavy silence, a sharp, insistent buzz. It's Elena's phone, lying face up on the polished granite of the kitchen island. She doesn't move, lost in her own private drama. My eyes are drawn to the screen as it lights up, a notification sliding into view. A text message from someone named Jake. The message is short, simple, and utterly devastating. The husband signed yet? My blood runs cold. A new name, a new player in this sordid drama. This isn't just about Elena and Derek. This is bigger. Jake. Who is Jake? An investor? Another partner? Another lover? The possibilities spiral out in the darkness of my mind, each one more terrifying than the last. The question itself is a confirmation of everything Elena has just confessed, and a chilling indication that this conspiracy, this plan to defraud me, is still in motion. They're still waiting for my signature. The one Elena has already forged. A strange, almost out-of-body calm descends upon me once more. The initial shock is replaced by a surge of cold, calculating anger. This is not just a personal betrayal. This is a crime in progress. And I am standing at its epicenter. I realize in that moment that I have a choice. I can let the emotional tidal wave of grief and anger consume me, or I can ride it. I can use its power. My hand moves with a speed and precision that surprises even me. Before Elena can lift her head, before she can react, I've snatched the phone from the island. My fingers fly across the screen, a muscle memory from 1,000 mundane moments, checking emails, scrolling through social media, answering texts. I take a screenshot of the message from Jake. The shutter sound is a small, satisfying click in the quiet room. A digital snapshot of her guilt, of their conspiracy, captured and saved. "What are you doing?" Elena's head snaps up, her eyes wide with alarm as she sees her phone in my hand. "Give that back." She lunges for it, but I'm already moving, stepping back, holding the phone out of her reach. "Who's Jake?" I ask, my voice low, dangerous. "It's none of your business," she snarls, her grief forgotten, replaced by a raw, cornered panic. "Give me my phone, Marcus." But I'm not listening. My mind is already racing, calculating, connecting the dots. The loan application, the forged signature, the mysterious Jake waiting for confirmation. This isn't just a harebrained scheme cooked up by two lovers. This is organized. This is premeditated. And I have just stumbled into the middle of it. In my mind's eye, a flash of a possible future. A courtroom, cold and imposing. Elena on the stand, her face pale, her lies unraveling under the harsh glare of legal scrutiny. The words, wire fraud, conspiracy, grand larceny, echo in the silent chambers of my thoughts. I don't know the legal specifics, not yet. But I know, with a certainty that settles deep in my bones, that this is where this road leads. This is so much bigger than adultery. This is the kind of mess that ruins lives, that ends in prison sentences. I look at Elena, really look at her. The woman I married, the woman I shared a bed with for 10 years, is a stranger to me, a criminal, and she has underestimated me at every turn. She thought I would crumble, that I would pack a bag and walk away, leaving her to her new life with her new man and our stolen future. She had no idea who she was dealing with. I slip the phone into my pocket. "We'll talk about this later," I say, my voice devoid of emotion. "Right now, I think you need to find a good lawyer. I know I will be." I turn and walk out of the kitchen, leaving her standing there, her face a mask of disbelief and dawning horror. I have the evidence. I have the upper hand. The game has changed once again, and I am already planning my next 3 moves. The shock is over. The fight has just begun. The next morning, the sun rises on a world that feels fundamentally altered. The familiar comfort of my home is gone, replaced by the sterile atmosphere of a crime scene. I didn't sleep. I sat in the living room, watching the sky lighten from bruised purple to a pale, indifferent gray. Elena's phone a cold, heavy weight in my pocket. Every buzz, every notification was another nail in her coffin. More messages from Jake, growing more insistent. An email from a bank I don't use, confirming the receipt of a loan application. The digital breadcrumbs of her betrayal were all there, a trail leading straight to a future she had planned without me, a future built on a foundation of lies and felonies. At 9 a.m. sharp, I walk into the law offices of Sarah Chen, a nameplate of polished brass on a heavy oak door. Sarah and I go way back. We were college roommates, partners in late-night study sessions, and ill-advised pizza-fueled all-nighters. We'd seen each other through bad breakups, academic crises, and the terrifying uncertainty of postgraduate life. Now, she's one of the sharpest family law attorneys in the city, with a reputation for being a shark in the courtroom and a loyal friend outside of it. She greets me with a warm smile and a hug, her professional demeanor softening for a moment. "Marcus, it's been too long. What's up? You look like you've seen a ghost." "Something like that," I say, my voice tight. We move into her office, a space of mahogany, leather-bound books, and quiet, competent authority. I sit in the chair opposite her desk, the one usually reserved for clients on the verge of having their lives torn apart. I suppose I'm one of them now. I don't waste time with pleasantries. I pull a manila folder from my briefcase and slide it across her desk. Inside is a collection of documents I'd spent the early morning hours printing from Elena's phone and my own computer. Bank statements I'd never seen before, with my name on them. The loan application, complete with a disturbingly accurate forgery of my signature. And, of course, the screenshots. The damning text from Jake and the subsequent increasingly frantic messages. Sarah's smile fades as she flips through the pages. Her eyes, usually so full of warmth and humor, narrow into a sharp, analytical focus. The friendly mask of our college days slips away, replaced by the cool, professional demeanor of Sarah Chen, Esquire. She is no longer my old roommate. She is my lawyer. "Marcus, this is—" she begins, her voice low, her eyes widening as she takes in the full scope of the documents. She looks up at me, her expression a mixture of shock and something else, something approaching awe. "This is fraud. Multiple felonies, wire fraud, bank fraud, identity theft. My God, Marcus. What the hell has Elena gotten herself into?" The validation is a strange, cold comfort. I'm not crazy, I'm not overreacting. The situation is as bad as I thought it was. Worse, even. "That's what I came here to find out," I say, my voice steady, "and to find out what I do next." I lean forward, my hands clasped on her desk. "How long do I have before she realizes I've copied everything from her phone?" Sarah's mind is already working, the gears turning with a speed that is both impressive and terrifying. "She'll know by noon," she says, her voice crisp, efficient. "That's when the banks will start calling her, asking why the primary applicant on the loan is reporting a break-in and claiming his signature was forged. They'll shut it down immediately. The whole house of cards is going to come crashing down on her, and fast." She's already reaching for her phone, her fingers flying across the screen. "But we can get ahead of it. If we file the divorce papers first, right now, and include a motion to freeze all assets, joint accounts, credit cards, everything, we can cut her off before she has a chance to hide anything. We can protect what's yours before she can steal anything else." As if on cue, my pocket begins to buzz. It's my own phone this time. Elena's name flashes on the screen. I ignore it. It buzzes again, and again. 17 times she calls me while I'm sitting in Sarah's office. Each call goes to voicemail. Sarah glances at my phone, then back at me, a silent understanding passing between us. The desperation is rolling in. The tide is turning. Sarah is a whirlwind of focused, efficient energy. She dictates a series of documents to her paralegal, her words sharp, precise, each one a legal weapon being sharpened for the coming battle. She makes a series of phone calls, her voice a calm, authoritative force. She is building a fortress around me, around my assets, around my future. A fortress that Elena, with all her lies and schemes, will not be able to penetrate. I leave her office an hour later, the manila folder left behind on her desk, a ticking time bomb waiting to explode in Elena's life. The voicemails on my phone are a testament to her dawning panic. The first few are pleading, her voice thick with tears. "Marcus, please, pick up. We need to talk. I can explain everything." Then they turn angry, her voice a sharp, accusatory hiss. "You can't do this, Marcus. You can't just take my phone and run away. You're stealing from me. The irony is so thick, it's almost laughable. The final voicemail is different. It's quiet, defeated. Marcus, what have you done? I haven't done anything, I think to myself as I walk out into the bright, unforgiving sunlight. I just held up a mirror, and she is finally seeing the monster she has become. The second strike has been launched, and the war for my life, for my future, has officially begun. 3 weeks later, I am sitting in the sterile, imposing environment of Judge Harrison's courtroom. The air is thick with the scent of old paper, floor polish, and unspoken anxieties. The past few weeks have been a blur of legal maneuvers, depositions, and a rising tide of rage and disbelief from Elena's side of the battlefield. We'd successfully frozen all our assets, a move that had sent Elena and her new legal team into a frenzy. The discovery process had been a revelation. Each uncovered document, each email, painting a more detailed and damning picture of her and Derek's scheme. It was bigger and more audacious than I could have imagined, involving not just our house but my retirement accounts, my investment portfolio, even my life insurance policy. They hadn't just planned to build a business, they'd planned to erase me. Now, here we are, in a preliminary hearing to sort out the initial division of assets and address my request for an annulment based on fraud. Elena is sitting at the opposing table, a pale, drawn version of her former self. Her lawyer, a slick, overconfident man named Peterson, is currently addressing the court, his voice a smooth, practiced baritone. He's trying to paint a picture of Elena as a wronged woman, a loving wife who was driven to a moment of poor judgment by an emotionally distant husband. He's trying to argue that this is all a simple marital dispute, a misunderstanding that has been blown out of proportion. He's trying to make this about the affair, about Derek, about a broken heart. He's trying to ignore the mountain of evidence that points to a far more sinister truth. Your Honor, Peterson says, his hands clasped earnestly. My client is a victim in this situation. She made a mistake born of a desire to create a better future for her and her husband. A future that Mr. Chen, by his own admission, had shown little interest in. Sarah, sitting beside me, remains perfectly still, her expression unreadable. She has coached me for this moment, warned me not to react, not to let my emotions get the better of me. Let him talk, she'd said. Let him dig his own grave. Finally, it's Elena's turn to speak. She stands, her hands trembling as she smooths down her conservative navy blue dress. She's trying to look demure, regretful. She addresses the bench, her voice breaking with a carefully rehearsed tremor. Your Honor, she begins, her eyes welling with tears. My husband entrapped me. He knew about Derek. He knew I was unhappy. He set us up. This whole thing, it's a setup. A murmur ripples through the small courtroom. Entrapment. It's a bold, desperate move, a final, frantic attempt to shift the blame, to paint herself as the victim one last time. Judge Harrison, a woman whose sharp intellect and no-nonsense demeanor are legendary in legal circles, leans forward, her eyes narrowing into two sharp analytical points. Her voice, when she speaks, cuts through the courtroom like a blade. Mrs. Chen, she says, her tone dangerously soft. Are you claiming, under oath, that your husband forced you to commit fraud? That he compelled you to forge his signature on multiple legal and financial documents? The courtroom falls silent. The air crackles with tension. Elena freezes, her mouth slightly agape. The trap has been sprung. She has walked right into it. She can't claim entrapment without admitting to the underlying crime. She can't accuse me of setting her up without confessing to the very acts she is trying to deny. No, but, she starts, then catches herself. The color drains from her face as the full weight of her mistake, of her public, on-the-record admission, settles upon her. She looks at her lawyer, a silent, desperate plea in her eyes. But Peterson can do nothing. He just stares down at his legal pad, his own face a mask of grim resignation. In that moment of stunned silence, Sarah moves. She stands, calm and composed, and slides a document across the table to Peterson. It's the settlement agreement, the one we'd drafted late last night, a final, non-negotiable offer. Given my client's new on-the-record confession to multiple felonies, Sarah says, her voice clear and strong, we are prepared to offer this one-time settlement. Mr. Chen will retain full ownership of the marital home, both vehicles, and all retirement and investment accounts. He will also retain ownership of all personal property, including certain pieces of jewelry that Mrs. Chen attempted to hide by transferring them into Mr. Derek's name. She pauses, letting the weight of her words sink in. In return, Mr. Chen will agree not to pursue further civil damages. The ongoing criminal investigation, of course, is out of our hands. Peterson reads the document, his face growing paler with each line. He whispers frantically to Elena, who just stares blankly ahead, the fight finally gone out of her. She knows she is beaten, utterly and completely. Judge Harrison looks from the settlement agreement to Elena, her expression one of utter disdain. Given the circumstances and the, shall we say, compelling new evidence presented here today, I suggest you consider this offer very carefully, Mrs. Chen. There is no more argument. There are no more lies. There is only the quiet scratching of a pen on paper as Elena, her hand trembling, signs away the life she had tried so desperately to steal. The gavel comes down with a sharp, final crack, the sound echoing the dissolution of 10 years of marriage, 10 years of my life. It's a sound of finality, of an ending. And underneath it, almost lost in the silence of the courtroom, is the sound of Elena's quiet, defeated sobbing. It's the sound of justice. As Elena signs the final page of the settlement agreement, her hand shaking so badly the signature is barely a scribble, I lean forward slightly, my voice low, meant for her ears only. Maybe you can visit Derek in his jail cell, I say. The words are cold, devoid of the heat of anger, just a simple statement of fact. Her head snaps up, her eyes, red-rimmed and full of a mixture of hatred and despair, meet mine for a final, fleeting moment. There is nothing left between us. No love, no anger, not even pity. Just the wreckage of a life, and the cold, hard reality of the consequences she has brought upon herself. 6 months later, I'm standing on the deck of my house, a mug of hot coffee warming my hands. The sun is just beginning to rise, painting the sky in soft shades of orange and pink. The air is cool, clean, and filled with the scent of freshly cut grass from my neighbor's lawn. The house feels bigger now, quieter, but it doesn't feel empty. It feels clean, purged of the lies, the betrayal, the suffocating weight of a dead marriage. It's my house now, mine alone. And for the first time in a long time, it feels like home. My phone buzzes on the small patio table. It's Sarah. I answer, a smile touching my lips. "Morning, counselor," I say. "Morning, Marcus," she replies, her voice bright, cheerful. "Just thought you'd like to know. The sentencing came down this morning." I take a sip of my coffee, my heart steady, calm. "And?" "Derek got 18 months, she says. "With his priors, he was lucky it wasn't more. He'll be out in a year with good behavior." A pause. "Elena got 3 years?" 3 years. The number hangs in the air for a moment. It's not a victory. It's not a cause for celebration. It's just an ending. A final, definitive closing of a chapter of my life that I am more than ready to leave behind. "She took a plea deal," Sarah continues. Full cooperation with the DA's office. They're looking into Jake and his associates now. Turns out your little domestic drama uncovered a much larger loan fraud ring. You're a hero, you know. You just don't have a cape. I laugh, a genuine, unforced sound. I'll pass on the cape, I say. A good cup of coffee and a quiet morning is all the reward I need. We talk for a few more minutes, the easy, comfortable banter of old friends. After we hang up, I stand there for a long time, watching the sun climb higher in the sky. I think about Elena, about the choices she made, the path she chose. I think about the woman I thought I knew, and the stranger she became. Sometimes, on my way to the grocery store, I drive past the small, run-down apartment complex where I know she lives now, a temporary residence before her new, state-funded accommodation is ready. I've never been tempted to stop. I've never been tempted to look back. The rage is gone. The grief has faded to a dull, distant ache, like the memory of an old injury. What's left is a sense of peace, a quiet satisfaction. Revenge is a hot, messy, and ultimately unsatisfying emotion. Justice, on the other hand, justice is a cold, clean, and surprisingly delicious thing. And as I finish my coffee, watching the new day dawn, I realize that it tastes better than anything I could have ever imagined. The timer that started in that doorway all those months ago has finally run out, and I am free.